I'm over a year and a half having quit cigarettes too.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I quit in January of 21.
Good for you.
Hardest thing I've ever done. Well,
Cold turkey?
Yeah. I went out front because I used to stand out front and smoke. One night it was like 1:30 in the morning. I had one cigarette left in my pack, and I've told this story a lot. But I went outside, I smoked it, and because it was 1:30 in the morning, I was just kind of like, okay, like I'm not going to go buy another. I could run across the street and go buy another packet shell or whatever, but I didn't. I'm like, I'll just go to bed. And then, because it usually like the last cigarette before bed or whatever. And then woke up the next day. It was a Sunday at that point. And I just kind of, in my head, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. And then the next 2 weeks were really fucking bad because it was like,
the withdrawals or
I'd smoked for like 15 or 16 years, like solid.
Well, and that it's so habitual, and like that's a thing. There's so many, but that's a bit different because that's a very unhealthy habit. Even though like you get like a little bit of joy from it, it's not like long-term gain. It's kind of like, you know, a toxic ex or something. It's like, ooh, like it brings me joy that he like texts me or something, or that they reach out or whatever. You spend time with them, but like in the end, you know, like you're fucking yourself over. Like, and so something like some things like with, you know, there's a little bit of difference. Like these aren't gonna hurt, obviously. Like if it's like you can't walk through your house, I might be like, you know, maybe we need to have some intervention.
Like they're stacked up everywhere. Like if I couldn't move around, it'd
the
be
TV
a little...
show, the podcast will be on you, and you'll be like, what is this for my show? And we'll just be all following you around. Like
exactly.
We all love you dearly.
Oh God, I'm on Hoarders and intervention at the same time.
There's
Great.
like a rehab space.
Oh
yeah. Be like,
I am
hi,
like
Lincoln. It's been
hello.
5 days since I bought a figurine.
Oh my God. Oh God.
What was that we were talking about? The ice cream addiction.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's okay. Okay. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. The fucking ice cream. Did you try it?
With the cookie dough one?
Or the Ben and Jerry's like cookie dough core one.
I thought I don't get the difference. I think one just must have more cookie dough in it, but like I'm normally like kind of boring. I like vanilla ice cream. I like
I remember you saying that. See, I'm like that too.
Strawberry raspberry gelato, but you don't get gelato that often. But normally like just kind of vanilla-y.
Sprinkles?
No,
really?
Sprinkles.
See, I like soft serve vanilla.
Okay.
With like a scoop of sprinkles on top, because then it adds a little bit of a crunch to it.
Interesting. I used to get, I still like, I try to stay away from the Dairy Queen near my house, but like ever since I was 5 years old, I'd get small strawberry sundae, extra strawberries.
Wow.
That's my jam. But no, I tried when I was house sitting or dog sitting at my cousin's place. That's where I saw they're like, help yourself to anything in the fridge. That was their first mistake. And like I know everyone says it when I like dog sit, whatever, and I'm like, whatever. And I'm like, okay, maybe just one bite won't hurt, and then I was hooked. And that's the thing, those little tubs disappear quite quickly.
Yes, they do. Okay. So after you had posted, Sinead posted about this like new Ben and Jerry's, like they have their core ice cream, so it's like ice cream, but then it's got a solid
cookie dough.
Yeah, well, it's they have cookie dough, they have fudge. I think they have a peanut butter one. It's not good.
What?
The cookie dough is not good.
Okay, I don't think we're talking about the same one because
it was. Mm-mm. Mine was not good. The cookie dough was so.
No, it didn't have the thing in that. There was chunks all over it, and there's chocolate chips.
Okay, yeah. No, their regular cookie dough ice cream is good, but the cookie dough.
Getting offended. No, it is good.
How dare you? No. The cookie dough like core one with like the huge like log of cookie dough.
Okay, no, I didn't have that one, so I can't speak on that. Why was it? Why was it?
Because the cookie dough tasted so. Oh. Like.
What a disgrace.
Chemically and just like terrible. It tasted terrible. So then I went and got like a Haagen-Dazs.
To clear your palate.
Yeah, I went and got like a little tub of Haagen-Dazs cookie dough ice cream, just to cleanse the palate a little bit. And Haagen-Dazs is much better. But to that point, we literally have a Dairy Queen across the street. So like the other night, I looked at Kristen. I was like, what do you want for dessert? And she's like, Blizzard. And I'm like, oh, yep. And I'm lactose intolerant too. So it's just like.
So the addiction's real.
Well, yeah. But it's funny. I've noticed lately, like, when I have like dairy products, my stomach doesn't hurt as much. So I'm wondering if I kicked it. Like, I'm wondering if
people can get over allergies or intolerances and stuff for sure. So
I'm wondering if I finally kicked it, and I'm like, all right. Cause like pizza too, like I'll have pizza, and like before I would have like I would eat pizza and then I would have horrible stomach ache. Like not even that long after. Now I'm like bracing for it, and it's like I forget about it, and I wake up the next morning, I'm like, how
nice. Well, that's good.
Yeah, so maybe, I'm wondering if I kicked it.
Maybe between the cigarettes and the dairy there was an exchange.
Well, maybe that would be good. That's the thing. I look at I texted in that first week when I was going through like literal withdrawals. Like I was sitting upstairs in my chair, like watching TV, like, you know, like when you see people going through like heroin withdrawal and like movies and stuff. It wasn't quite that bad, but I was hurting. Like it's one of the worst things I've ever gone through, trying to kick nicotine. And I don't like vaping, so I was like, I don't think
it's a good alternative, to be honest, because there's so many, like, you can get moisture in your lungs. Like, people are like, oh, it's a healthy alternative. It's not. Just quit, because it's kind of, I don't know. Like, you don't necessarily need to wean off like you might some other drugs or like alcohol, where you only can have like a little bit. Like,
So, yeah, I know what you mean. And so I messaged my brother, who at that point, I think he had quit cigarettes like 2 years prior. So I messaged him and I just said, like, does it get better? Aww. Because honestly, in that moment, you are so like something that I've habitually that I've done for 15, 16 years. I'm now trying not to do. And I remember he was very, very kind about it. He texted me back and he was just like, it does. He was like, dude, you got to hold on. Like, just hold on. It does get so much better. And sitting here now, thinking back to that, like a year and a half out, I'm like, it was the best decision I ever made. It's literally the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. And it's funny how, like, so my goddaughter's 2, she's like a little bit, like 2 years and 2 months or whatever. So I didn't make that decision based on her, but the more I think about it, I think subconsciously it kind of was. I think because like she was 6 months old at that point, and I think by that point I had met her once. Yeah. And from the very first time that I met her, like her and I bonded really
and
really
your
quickly.
World probably changed so much, like not even just thinking about like long term about your health, but also like the image and like, you know, because kids are like sponges, and so like you clearly, like, you know, you're going to be an integral part of her life, and so like what kind of figure are you going to be? So.
And I want to be that integral figure in her life. And so it's funny because my grandmother, when I was born in 88, she did the same thing. I was born and she quit smoking. Aww. Because she didn't want me growing up like around that, and you know all that. It sucks that like I grew up and started smoking, but
but like some things, like especially when you grow up and see, like it's no different than like maybe excessive drinking or whatever it is, or just like certain even behaviors, even if it's not like necessarily substance abuse. It's just like that's what you kind of normalize, and that's, you know, it just those things can definitely change your like health and everything like going forward in life. So I think it's nice if obviously you can set the parameters for like a more safer, healthy environment growing up, and those are just little changes that obviously takes a lot of you do have self-discipline. What are you talking about? Like that's a huge thing.
Yeah, I know. And I definitely have willpower. No, you're right. I don't give myself enough
for yourself. But that's the thing. It's like with that or with work or anything, it's just like the long-term gain. And so like obviously, you know, clearly I don't need to tell you what the long-term gain of like quitting smoking is, but like also like even like you putting in work and like for all the editing and networking and things that you have to do, and you're traveling, you're going to Vancouver next week, like some things or whatever, it's just like, ooh, like you might be exerting like a lot of energy, or you're giving up a lot of things and events, but it's just like, you know, it's worth it in the end. And so
Yeah, it is. Well, and that's the thing. And to that point of even just like narrowing that down to like networking, when I'm meeting people, I don't want to stink like cigarettes when I'm like meeting new people, especially if they're just like, because like that could influence what they think of me, where they're just kind of like, oh, he's a smoker. Like, we don't want to work with him or whatever, because they have their own, thoughts on that or whatever. Right. Like I'm sure I'm speculating a little bit.
People get shamed a bit more because it's not as like, I think so many people have quit for the most part. It's just not as like common. Obviously, we've come like a long way from like smoking on airplanes and in cars with kids and like in the mall and stuff to
Well,
designated
remember when we were
areas.
kids and
yeah, exactly, like restaurants and everything.
Smoking or not, it's like, does it matter?
Exactly.
The whole restaurant smells.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. So, and then now it's like, I know anybody that does smoke, it's like, it's almost like shameful. Like even if people, but it's just like, yeah, you got to go out this door and through that door and around the corner and got to go 15 feet away from the building. And then you can have your cigarette and hopefully it's not raining by the time you get there.
Yeah. And it's almost like it's wild to think how much personal growth I've actually, like when I sit and actually like think about it. 'Cause like I have spent a lot of time over the last 2 years working on bettering myself because I spent so long not focused on those kind of things and just like, just kind of like, it doesn't matter. When the reality of it is like, no, like your mental health and your physical health, they do matter.
Of course.
So, smoking, half a pack of cigarettes every day and like eating garbage food all the time, that's not good for you. It really isn't. And I mean, when you're young, you think you're invincible.
Of course. Yeah.
that's the fallacy of life, is like when we're young, like even when I was young,
Well, yeah, you need to find a better like work-life balance in general. It's like, okay, yeah, of course you just kind of go through Monday days where you're going to school or you're working for somebody else and like whatever, and you fit in when you can. But now when you realize how important your physical, like until you don't have it, like of course we all take our health for granted until you don't have it, or you're close to somebody that doesn't have it and whatnot. So like, I think just understanding, and I feel like I've had to reflect on that a lot, working for myself or whatever, and like I can't work all the time. Welding is not healthy. Even inhaling welding fumes is equivalent to like a pack of cigarettes, and so that's why a lot of life expectancy for welders is quite short. And so I wear my PPE as much as I can, but I also try to balance it. Like I'm in like such a stuffy like fumey area. I try to get out in nature as much as I can. Like I actually really love walking. I walk my dog every day, but like just to kind of be more immersed, also for like my mental emotional health, because it's like I think I can be go and then I do get myself like overwhelmed because I want to do all these projects, or I'm doing them all, but like I'm not really seeing the end result so much. But like sometimes, and like that's the thing, it's like I do yoga and I meditate every single day, every morning, but like that's not necessarily for everyone. I think there's so many different forms of meditation for people, and sometimes like that's just like crazy for some people to sit in silence. Like sometimes you listen to music, you listen to water, or you do whatever act, but like something to kind of just let go of like the resistance, and so you can kind of see something with a set of fresh eyes. You don't always have the option just to kind of have a nap and like turn everything off. And so there is that, or just knowing, okay, I am working myself to the brim. Like I need to like slow her down a bit. Like there's so many different things that might have worked before, might have been able to pull all-nighters multiple times or whatever, but it's just not effective as of now. And so obviously if it's something you want to continue to pursue and to show up for yourself, you have to do that, like show up for yourself in the best way you can every day. Totally. And that's like exactly like whether that's quitting smoking or like figuring out like, okay, these are my boundaries. Like I have worked, I need to like, some days you do work 12 hours a day, but you also do need to give yourself time to rest or chill or maybe party or socialize and just celebrate yourself or appreciate yourself, because you only have one body.